Hi. Um, I guess you could consider this sort of a talking head video, even though I don't get on the camera on any of my videos. Two reasons for that. One, I'm either using OBS Studio or I'm behind the camera using my phone. I don't have a webcam, and I don't really think I have any content really that requires looking at me, when a lot of the stuff that I'm doing would be better off with a first person point of view. So I'm going to make this kind of quick as possible. And, I went back and forth about even making this video, or rather posting it, I should say. Like I didn't really, at first I didn't really want to post this video. One, because it's already been covered by other people. I mean, you've got, let's see here. There's Greg. He talked about it in a video a little bit ago. Not an Apple fan. He also, gave his opinion on the matter. And another really good video on this situation was also done by Tech Yes City, who have put out their opinions on this. And because of that, I really didn't want to make this video, or rather I should again say, I didn't really want to post this video, but I feel like these are things that needed to be discussed, and it was also something that I was in the middle of working on and thinking about talking about anyhow, but I was going to make a different kind of video on it with intent of like showing some prices and things like that. But again, I see that that's sort of kind of been done already as well, so now this video is more being done off the cuff without any scripting. And yeah, so there's other videos done by other YouTubers who have covered it quite well, but I also wanted to point out some things more from just a personal point of view, being that this channel, in my opinion, is really geared towards your average everyday end user. Even though I may be tech savvy, I'm kind of gearing this channel towards people who may be less tech savvy and might, learn a couple of things that comes from the point of view of the average everyday end user, being myself. So yeah, in a way I really wasn't going to post it, but I feel there's things that need to be discussed, so here we are. Because here's the thing, just the other day I had made a video disagreeing with Jay's 2 cents, and I don't want it to seem like, number one, I'm going to be, targeting him like he's my new, big guy in the new yard or whatever, because, I am a new YouTuber. I'm not even a YouTuber. Like, my entire channel, and I keep saying it in many, many videos, is it's all about the end user, your regular, normal consumer, not a person who has crazy money to just dump on all kinds of insane hardware and just call it a day and it doesn't matter. I mean, I've said multiple times how, I'm disabled. I don't have a lot of money. And yes, in a way, right now, I am running some seriously high-end equipment. I'm not going to lie, so it almost sounds a little bit, hypocritical. But here's the thing. I did this because I absolutely needed to, not necessarily because I wanted to. Initially, I was really happy with the machine that I had. And it was relatively old. And my last graphics card was an RX 580, and it was serving me just fine. It is a decent card. It still works just fine. Especially if you're just doing the 1080p gaming, And I don't know how many of us normal, everyday, average people are out there gaming on, 144 hertz, big monitors. Like, again, here's the thing. Is, when I first seen the video, because I watch his videos, I was just kind of shaking my head, being like, no, this really isn't good information. And I disagree, but I don't really want to make a video about it because, again, I don't want to seem like I'm targeting him. But on the other hand, these are things that I was planning on talking about anyhow. So I'm going to put Jay aside in his opinion on buying new graphics cards right now. Aside of the fact that I'm going to say that if you haven't bought one, don't consider yourself an idiot, and you are not one. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on from there. Let's just talk about your wallet for a minute. Your average everyday person who does not have a lot of money like myself. And again, yes, I'm running high-end equipment right now. I have an R5 5600X processor on an X570 motherboard with a Lee case and 32 gigs of RAM, a nice power supply, RGB, a really nice cooler, etc. But I saved up for a very, very long time for those. I was running the same old machine for nearly 5 to 7 years or something like that. Maybe it was 6. I can't remember now. But the last machine I had, it was an A10 7850K or whatever that is. I can show you my old machine that I just redone in a new case. Right here. This is hardware I used to use for a long time. It's an old A88X motherboard. I had an RX 580 in there, but I swapped that out and put this older card in there just for having something in there, because at the time wanted to see if I could get the old hardware to come back to life, because something happened with the old computer that I was using. All this hardware here, except a different video graphics card. It was a, like I said, an RX 580. That's right. Also, at that time, the CPU didn't have a water cooler on it. It was a Hyper 212 on it, because it was fine. It was in push-pull and it worked out well. But this is what I redid with it, and I managed to get it to come back and start working. So honestly, I'm not even sure what happened with this machine, and I loved it. It was fine. It was suiting me just fine. Okay, so the point I'm getting across here is that it was an old machine that worked well, and I was able to game on it. It wasn't super fast, and it wasn't super new, and I also didn't have a lot of money, and I was happy to have what I had. Sure, upgrading was great, and I did upgrade the graphics card. It was the first thing I did, and I definitely found a huge improvement in my gaming performance when I went to the RX 580 8GB card versus the 4GB R7 370s that I was originally using. I was also at one point in time using the FX 9590, okay, that really hot CPU. It was a 220 watt TDP. Yeah, both of these machines were DDR3 machines. One had 16 gigs of RAM and the other one had 32. One had an FX 9590 and the other one was the A10 7890K. Those machines gamed just fine. They weren't terrible machines. They were older and they were outdated. That being said, those motherboards did support one of, by the way, the machine that was running the FX 9590. It had a Gigabyte 990 FX gaming motherboard. Now that motherboard and A88X, both of them support, or at least have the ability to put a TPM chip on them. There's little pins on the motherboard to support that, but not all motherboards do. But what I'm getting at here, though, is even though those are really old and they're things you would be able to find in eBay, you could very well get these older machines, and I wouldn't suggest using a 9590, but I would definitely get the 990FX gaming motherboard and put a different CPU into it, for sure. I would use older DDR3 RAM. I would use an older system. And, yeah. I mean, okay, some people are still using the i7 2600K CPUs. Those are still sort of working okay, no doubt. And I guess what I'm getting at here is, do you really need the newest equipment out there? Most likely not, and the best thing to do is never buy brand new. Always wait. I waited 5 years before even adopting the newest platform, and at that point in time, it was ready to be quote-unquote end of life. And that's the X570 system I have here. Just bought it brand new not that long ago. Put tons of money into it. And I put my RX 580 in there. And I was fine with that. And I started having problems with my, I'm guessing it was monitors or the cables. I'm not sure. But I went and changed out the graphics card. Hated doing it. But at the time, I was able to get the graphics card, which I have now, is the 6600 XT. Right? Well, that card suited my needs perfectly because it was two fans, similar in length, a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger than my RX 580, but similar in length enough. Only required one 6-pin, so I didn't have to upgrade my power supply or go in and change out the cables for something else. I was able to just keep using the same 6-pin that I already had. Right, so I got the RX 6600 XT GPU, the 8GB, and it works just fine. And the RX 580 was fine. Turns out that I think the issue I was having turned out to be either the monitors or the cabling. I'm not entirely sure, but the problem went away, which is really annoying because I spent money that I really couldn't afford on a new GPU, thinking that my old GPU had stopped functioning properly. So yeah. What I'm saying is, I was happy with the old hardware. I would have continued using that old hardware. There's no reason to buy new. You don't have to buy new, and you're not an idiot if you hold out. Matter of fact, buy old stuff. It's better for the environment. It's better for your pocket. You don't need to buy most brand new things. You just don't need to do that. I was happy on an old platform, and I waited a very long time before jumping to the new platform, and I saved up for it, and it, sure, there's always something new coming out, but we don't need the newest stuff, and it's always best to wait anyhow. I don't know. I guess that's the end of my rant. You're not an idiot for not buying new graphics cards or new CPUs. And as a matter of fact, don't forget with the GPU, you might have to get a new power supply. Who wants to be dealing with all that right now? If you've got something good in your system and you're happy with it, don't upgrade. Matter of fact, buy used if you absolutely have to get something new. Because it'll be new to you. It'll work. I was buying used stuff all along. This system I have right here is the first time I've ever bought brand new everything. And it was painful. I can't even begin to tell you how many things I've had to go without to make that happen. But I needed something that was going to last. And I will use this machine for the next 10 years or so. Yeah, so I don't know. You don't need to buy it brand new. Nobody does. I guess that's the end of my rant. Thanks for listening.